All right, here we are. Good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for tuning in to the Confidence Corner. I am Cherie Styles. I am the CEO and founder of Wear Your Confidence. And tonight we have a marvelous treat. I have the honor of sitting here and talking to Dr. Cozzette and her beautiful daughter, Lena. I just want to go ahead and share this stream. So those who are just now tuning in, if you can go ahead and just share this stream, because you do not want to miss this conversation that we're getting ready to have. We're talking about purpose and position. And when I tell you that we have the most perfect duo to talk about this information, we really do. And you will see in just a few moments. So I'm getting ready to share this on my page.
Yeah, I'm trying to go on to share it on mine. And we're shutting the door so my 9-year-old won't give us that joyful noise in the background.
Got it. No problem. I see that people are coming in. Welcome, welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
Here it is. So how do I share this on FB? Can I share this on FB or no?
You can. So if you go to the Wear Your Confidence page.
Okay.
That's where I'm streaming live from.
Got it.
So if you go to,
there you are.
It's going to be a little echo. Yep.
Okay.
That's where I'm streaming live from.
Got it.
So if you
could turn down your sound. I want to turn on it. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Everyone.
Okay. I shared it.
All right, perfect. Let's see here. All right, we are good to go. So again, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you do not know who I am, I'm Cherie Styles, the CEO and founder of Wear Your Confidence. And I have again with me, Dr. Cozzette and her beautiful daughter, Lena. And tonight, this is the Confidence Corner. So the series that we are in is Confident Moms Raising Confident Daughters. And this duo, they are perfect for this very discussion. And so I just want to allow them to introduce themselves really quickly, and then we will get right into the rest of this conversation.
All right.
So we can start, Dr. Cozzette, Lena.
Okay. Hi, my name is Lena Jones. I am the daughter of Dr. Cozzette Lyons Jones, who's right here beside me, and who I've been watching all of my life to learn how to become a more confident, a more capable woman, and all of the different traits that entails. And so I guess a little bit about myself. I just graduated from the Archer School for Girls, women, and all of this past year has been filled with growth for me, especially as I navigated the college process, completed various programs that led me to rediscover who I want to be in life, what route I want to take in public service, in public health and whatnot. And then I recently chose to matriculate to Yale University in fall.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm continuing to push forward. Life is never ending hustle and bustle, and got to take it in stride.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I am Dr. Cozzette Lyons Jones. I am a physician, internal medicine doctor, chief physician at Watts Healthcare Corporation, among many other things, and mother to this gorgeous creature right here.
Thank you.
So that's enough about me. There's a lot. Let's just get into it though.
You two are just so cute. I just love how you guys bond and interact. I think it's the cutest thing ever. It's not common. And that's why I was just like, I have to get you two on, because just seeing from a distance, just like how Lena is, I came to your house and I'm just like, wow, who is this young person? She is very mature for her age, very well spoken, very knowledgeable and wise for such a young person, especially in this generation. And so I want to talk a little bit more just about, the confidence journey. Obviously, that confidence had to come from somewhere. And so, Dr. Cozzette, if you could just talk a little bit about your confidence journey and how that's been, or how it's going even now.
Oh, yeah. So for me, I was, when I was meditating on that question, um, I laughed because the majority of my life was with low self-esteem, to tell you the truth, and confidence in pockets, meaning certain areas of my life I felt very confident in, and other areas I didn't. And so if you're talking about the totality of confidence, that's one thing. If you're talking about confidence in seasons, that's based on what you're doing in that season. So for me, it was, as a young person, I was born to a teenage parents. And so I was being raised by someone who was still growing and evolving herself as a young person, and my dad as well. But more so my mom, who I was closest with and with most of the time. I'm close to my dad now, so let me just say that too. Um, so for me, watching someone try to find their way, because we were only a decade apart, in our ages, uh, put me at a disadvantage in terms of being able to get everything that I need. I got a lot from my mom. She was my greatest cheerleader. And I believe that the confidence that was built to be able to go and pursue the hard things, in spite of our humble beginnings, growing up in the projects and not having a car, and, always, robbing from Peter to pay Paul, that kind of existence made it so that I was a setup to have low confidence, in that environment. But my mom, because she adored my brother and I so, she was our greatest cheerleaders. And so she, I think, was the main driver and impetus early on before Christ. I became saved at the age of 15. Two of my friends from school, and one who lived in my neighborhood, who's my best friend to this day, they actually witnessed Christ to me, and that helped me to evolve even more. But it was a long journey. And I would say that really hardcore confidence, where I can say the big picture of confidence, is there now. It came in my 40s. It took all the way up to my 40s to get there. You can fake it till you make it. So a lot of people would not know that, watching my life going, as it was, because I was hitting the things that I was trying to achieve. But, public success, private failure at times is what we all experience. And just to be transparent, that was my story as well.
I like how you said that whole fake it till you make it, because a lot of moms, what I'm hearing, like, there is no manual that comes with being a mom. And so I hear a lot of them say, I'm just taking it one day at a time. I'm just pretending to know what it is that I'm doing. And so I'm glad that you're being open and honest, about that, because we can wear a mask for a long time, but it's not until, we take that off and that we're real with ourselves that we can truly, help other people.
True.
And so my question for you, Lena, is, did you notice that your mom's insecurities or lack of confidence, or what did you see growing up?
Well, the best part of having this woman as a mother is that she translates all of the lessons that she's learning into lessons for me in the present time. She trusts me to have the maturity and be thoughtful enough to take what she's doing and growing upon and to input that into my life early on, so that I don't have to experience the same uncertainties that she does, or did at one point in time. An example of that would be mom telling me to embrace what evidence of God's hand in my life there is, and embrace the evidence of his purpose manifesting in me as greatness, and embrace that early on. And she's taken a long time to instill that in me because for a long time I'd say, to compliments, deflect, or take them but set them aside. And mom has put a lot into having me accept the compliments, have them within myself, not let humility fall away because of the compliments, but to recognize that there is greatness within me and that God has a purpose for me in my life that I am living out through his strength and through the strength that he has given me.
I love that. I love that so much. It's very rare that you find or hear parents instilling that there is a purpose for their daughter at such a young age, especially during this time. It's a very different time. I know with me growing up, how my mom raised me, and I'm just thinking, okay, well, there is, somewhat of a standard to motherhood and what it is that you feed your daughter. I know with a lot of the other mother-daughter couples that I was interviewing with, they said that a lot of things are caught rather than taught.
Mm.
So I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, Lena, you seeing your mom and how she moved, you kind of got some of her aura, some of her vibe, some of her confidence.
Yeah, with mom, it was definitely both caught and taught. I'm grateful to say that. She walks how she talks, practices what she preaches. So every time she instills within me those values, I have a ready-made example of how it looks to be lived out, rather than just lip service.
Yeah. I always wanted to make sure that Lena knew what having authenticity in your walk with Christ, what it was about. And authenticity isn't about trying to just conform to a predetermined mold that, have the church language, the churchies, religious, I guess, form and fashion, but to actually have a genuine relationship with Christ, and to let that be the core of her decisions and of her, how she lives, breathes, and has her being. That should be Christ-centric. And that was intentional, so that when hard times came, her joy wouldn't be stolen. Because of external circumstances changing, because her joy was from within. So that was intentional for sure.
That's awesome. That is beautiful. And so my next question is, what are some things that you noticed in Lena that helped you to steer or guide her? The Bible says that we should train up a child in the way that they should go. And you being, a Black professional, what are some things that you saw in your daughter and was like, okay, well, I see this in her, so I'm going to steer her this way? Or was that part of the nurturing part?
My husband and I always were with both of our children, looking, for the treasures within, and our goal is to act on that, to create an environment in which that treasure can either flourish or it could die, if we misread it, or if the child thinks they want to do something and it doesn't really turn out to be that way. So there were hits and misses through the years with Lena when she was younger, but I think what we were seeing was true and was real. But where we were trying to guide her was not where she ultimately was intending to go in those seasons. So an example would be, Lena has always been very animated and theatrical, very creative spirit. She's a writer, prolific writer, writes plays, books, just anything you could think of. Musical, we put her in music. The thought and the intent about music, though, was for the discipline of the art, as well as to evolve her brain circuitry on both sides. So that was intentional, but also because she's a creative being. So we, looked at music as an outlet. We love music. We sing, we dance. We're always around here screaming and driving the boys crazy in the house. My husband and my son. Whatever. We gonna do what we gonna do. But I think when she was younger, I remember putting her in dance at Lula, Washington. And, I was like, oh, this is perfect. And I was so excited, got a little tutu and everything, got pictures of her spinning around that lasted about 5 minutes.
Yeah. They really thought I was going to be an actress, an entertainer. From the personality that I exuded back then.
And I mean, she still is a little theatrical type of being, but it's for different reasons. You know, it's a confidence thing in terms of being able to interact and communicate with people in different arenas. But what we were perceiving was the creative arts, and that was the box initially that we were putting her in. It took a long time for us to realize that the way to the journey is not a straight line. We thought of it that way in my generation and generations before me, that, you know, you go to school, you go to college, you know, high school, college, you know, you get your job, you get married, you have a kid, you die, you know, whatever, you know, it's like there was a straight line to living. And these days, that's not, you know, what this generation is about. And we also know, and I know that there are multiple purposes that are within us.
Yeah.
And so to be able to identify that each gift that you have is a constellation around a particular purpose, and not necessarily your gift is not your purpose. You know, so a lot of times people will look at it and say she's musical or she's creative, and they just channel her just for that thing, not realizing that that's a setup for something that might be totally divergent, different industry. So I think us looking at the things that they showed interest in rather than what we had interest in. It never was about us. Never was about us in terms of that. It was always about what is it that they, you know, were being drawn to, or if we noticed something, a proclivity to something, that we would point it out, because they may not know. That's why you're there to guide, right? But it's not to force something on so that you're trying to live vicariously through your child, you know?
I love that, because a lot of times we'll say, okay, well, I'm a doctor. I'm going to steer you to be a doctor. I'm a lawyer. You have to be a lawyer. This has been in our family for generations and generations. And so what I'm hearing from you is exposure is key.
Yeah.
Attention just to your child, period. Paying attention to what it is that they like, and then not forcing, you know, because we all change our mind. We're always constantly evolving, but not forcing, you know, exactly what you said, trying to vicariously through our children.
For sure. For sure.
That is awesome. That's awesome. And so just for those who are coming in, I do want to say welcome. I just want, Lena, if you could repeat again, the school, can you tell me the schools that you've been accepted into just really quickly, and then the one that you got accepted to, and then what it is that you're going to be studying?
Okay. So I applied to 11 schools, and I actually got into all 11. I was really astounded. Once again, mom teaching me not to be so astounded. I applied to UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC Irvine, UC SB, and then those are the UCs. I applied to Stanford, Harvard, Cornell, University of Chicago, Georgetown, American University, and then that's what it's the last one.
Oh, okay.
And then I applied to and chose to go to Yale.
And then what are you going to be studying?
Yeah, I'm planning. We didn't have to declare our majors yet, but I'm planning on studying history of science, medicine, and public health.
Beautiful. That is amazing. And I believe that comes directly from the parenting. That comes from, you know, just that all those years, time, dedication. And so I know, Cozzette, I know that you're a proud mama. I know you are a proud mama. I'm super excited, and I'm not even going to Yale. Like, this is so amazing. And I just think that all of the time, the seed, the pouring that you have done is now blossoming. Like, you're starting to see the, you know, the fruit of your labor, and it's just a beautiful thing. Has it always been like this? Has your relationship always been so close? And I see you guys just all, you know, sitting close on the couch. How did this?
I would say we've always been like that in general.
We've been pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, we've always been like that. I think when she was going through those seasons that all young people go through in terms of asserting her independence and wanting to have her voice heard even more. And I remember when she was small, a confession that she made to me. I don't know if you remember this. One day you told me that you felt a pressure of sorts to conform to other people's expectations, including mine. And
I think I remember that.
yeah, and she was really distraught that day. And I was shocked because I thought she just liked to make people laugh and smile, and that was just what she wanted to do. But sometimes I think she was doing that because she felt obligated to do it more so than this was genuinely coming from a space. I think it might have been a combination of the two, but there were times where it was not coming from just her, naturally. And it was a teachable moment to let her confidence be built in an area that she's not put here to please me or to be a people pleaser.
Yeah.
The only thing she has to be concerned about is to please God, and everything else will fall in place. He will lead and guide her as to how to interact with people, because I want her to know that she should not be moved by the cheers nor the jeers, because they're going to be the naysayers and the yaysayers. And that's for everyone, because you can get pumped up by the yays and you can be torn down by the nays. And so if you don't allow yourself to be attached to either one of those, then your confidence won't falter as often or as much. So that to me, but so I say when she went through the typical phases, like say 13, 13 years old, between 13 and 16, that there were moments like that, but they were few and far between, for Lena. She, because of her acceptance of Christ at such a young age, and really, when she was little, I remember every day going in the room and like, did you say your prayers? And like, nope. Did you read your Bible? Nope. I mean, and it went on like that for a couple of years, and another parent would have given up. But I just kept going, okay, did you do it? Did you do it? And then one day I looked in and she was just doing it on her own, and it just kind of skyrocketed. So, to not be weary in the well-doing, I guess, is what I would encourage parents to, what you see is not necessarily what you get. It's an evolution, just like with us. There's good and bad days, and I just have to trust that the good seeds that are being planted would flourish, and they did. But it's rare that we've been in that position where I can't think of a time where I went to bed and was like, not want to talk to you, and we wake up the next day.
Oh, no.
We don't have that kind of.
I can't stand that.
Yeah, it's ugly. We don't let the sun go down on our wrath, right?
Yeah. Like if we're angry or upset, then I'll wait and I'll be like, well, shoot. And then I'll just go to find her and be like, Mom, can we keep talking?
Yeah.
Because letting things fester, it doesn't sit well with my spirit.
And that's one thing that I always wanted Lena to feel, that she had a safe space to come to express herself, whether it's something that we would approve of or disapprove of, that our love was unconditional and it wasn't attached to her being good all the time, that if she was nasty that day, that it wouldn't change our love for her, so that she could feel comfortable and confident to come to us, even with that hard stuff, that's going on out there. And we created community to be able to envelop her in that way. So if she ever felt like she couldn't come to us, that we had people that we were confident in, that they would say to her things that we could trust.
Yeah.
I like that. So what I'm hearing a lot of is just making sure that you're open, communication, and just being able to not force or shove, a relationship with Christ on your daughter.
Right.
That's beautiful.
But you have to have an authentic beauty in Christ for yourself.
Yeah, because it definitely starts with example. And kids, I was always watching Mom. No matter, she's, one of the primary voices in my life. And so if I, for some reason, didn't see her showing the rest of the world how proud she was and how secure she was as a Christian, then I might have had trouble sharing with my friends that I was a Christian eventually. I might have had trouble having those difficult conversations about why I wasn't going to do this, or why I would prefer if they didn't introduce this, or just giving them advice, and then they'll ask, how do you know this? And I'll say, well, I got that from my faith. And that stuff I mean, comes directly from her. That's the example and the exemplar that she set out to be in my life. But at the same time, examples of the parent accepting the little things. Like if I remember there was this phase where every time I did something wrong, I would go and tell mom because I felt so guilty. I'd say, "Oh, I stepped on someone's shoe today," or something like that.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, did you mean to?" And I'm like, "No," and or yes. And she's like, "Let's talk about this a little more." But the response from her was never an immediate, "Oh my goodness, why would you do that?" Or "Go to your room, we'll talk about this later," or "We won't even talk about this, you're just punished." There was always an explanation for whatever outcome there was from her. So to feel that trust, it starts with the really little things.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that you said that, because a lot of times parents, they just don't know. And when we try to communicate, it can come out the wrong way.
Yeah.
And so just by you saying that, I know that you're helping a lot of people who are either watching live or who will watch the replay. And so I thank you. Thank you for saying that. Just two more things. Lena, how can you describe your confidence journey? Like for you being a teenager in 20?
Ongoing. Definitely, it's ongoing. It changed depending on the environment that I was in, I'd say, but not so drastically that my mom couldn't still have input. I was, and luckily she is an overwhelming voice when confronted with bad actors. So, and she recognizes bad actors quite well.
Yeah.
So discernment is very important on the part of a mother. But I remember being very boisterous and confident in the preschool era when the world seems to revolve around little you. And then going to a different school in a different environment, being picked out of this private school that we were paying too much money for and going to a public school that was predominantly black and brown students, which was not an environment that I'd generally been in. And so I felt uncomfortable with the fact that I couldn't understand my own people and that they didn't seem to like how I presented myself because I had my natural hair and I wore it like that my entire life, my entire little life.
And back then, everybody was still straightening their hair.
Yes.
No, it was before natural was in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little girls coming to school with their hair real slicked back and all of that. And so they would kind of compare me to a boy and make all those childish jokes. So during that period, I had to learn how to fight through a very low point for a little person, wherein there was no contact for meaningful contact for someone my age. But luckily, I mean, I still had a really solid home system. That was the contact. And my mom, one of those values instilled in me back then was, your hair is beautiful. Because I saw her beautiful curls and I was like, oh my goodness, where did the gene pool go?
Some Jones genes.
The Jones genes are strong, very strong.
Strong hair, beautiful hair.
And so
just different.
So and she always impressed that upon me. And I knew she was telling the truth because she was saying that I was beautiful even though I didn't look like her. And she was complimenting something that she didn't have. And so I knew that she was being genuine, at least in my little mind, that logic made sense. And so going from there, it definitely came up. So that was the kind of like African-American Black identity struggle. Then I got to middle school and it was the Christianity struggle because I once again was in a predominantly white environment, but this time it was a charter school with predominantly atheists or agnostic students. Yeah. And so my friends were white agnostics or white atheists. Yeah. And so I had to get used to translating that confidence into the words that I was speaking. And so that was built upon by the fact that I realized there were so many wise words offered to me by my parents that I could in turn give to other people. and they got something out of that, and they asked me where I got it from, and I could tell them exactly where. And so that definitely bolstered my confidence, and it made me even more keen on listening to my parents, because I realized that the words, have power.
Yeah.
And no matter what your faith is, you can still glean the power behind the words written in the word. Yeah. So from there, that was the religious, and then the political confidence comes in high school, because I was surrounded, once again, predominantly white community. This time everyone's a liberal, and I've been raised to be a moderate African-American girl by a conservative dad and a liberal mom. And so I'm navigating that environment and learning how to not only speak the words I've been given, but to argue points, to see the evidence, and to translate that into something that is bound by logic and reason. So that was a growing point too, but the communities definitely shaped it. And it all goes back to the seeds that were planted in me being nurtured by the opportunities that I chose to take, and that my parents encouraged me to take, to start doing debate, even though I'd never debated a day in my life, to speak for the Interfaith Club at a diversity day panel in 9th grade, when everyone else on the panel was a junior or a senior. And just to take those opportunities as they came. And definitely to be pumped up by my parents all along the way, even when things didn't turn out too good.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing. Wow. That's a lot. And from what I'm hearing, like you could have, just fell into a deep depression, at certain points and stages in your life, when people weren't understanding you. And if you didn't have that strong support, a lot of kids, a lot of young girls that I deal with now, they're just like, they have no purpose. One boy breaks their heart, 2 boys break their heart, and they're just like, they're done. They're going to girls. And it's like, there are so many pivotal moments in your life that I heard where your confidence was challenged, was tested, and then reinforced by your home and your mom, which is such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then just as you were talking, and you were telling me about, the schools that you were going into and how, they were agnostic and atheist, and your name is Lena, and Lena means light. And so you were just, placed in, dark situations to be that light, to be the light in this world. And I'm just super excited for you and what it is that you're getting ready to do. Girl, you're going to change this world. You are going to make your mark and I just hope that you don't forget about me along the way.
Never.
And Dr. Cozzette, I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you so much for this beautiful young lady, Lena. I thank you for your story and for sharing that with me, with our audience tonight. Is there any way that the people can get in contact with you? Because you're not just a physician.
Yeah.
What else are you doing?
What else am I doing? Our journeys are colliding right now. So I'm always big on brain health, and both my mother and grandmother both had dementia, and that opened, and I have had a lot of patients that I've cared for with Alzheimer's. So I'm on a number of boards, one of which is the Women's Alzheimer's Movement with Maria Shriver, and recently did an interview with her, and we've been talking, and I was sharing something that Lena is doing at her school. She put out a petition to her teachers to add the autobiography of Malcolm X to the curriculum. Not even out of school a whole week, and she's already asserting her alumni privilege. Yeah, when everyone else would be chilling for the summer before college, right? And so I'm proud of her about that. But Maria actually reached out and asked if Lena could write for her newspaper that she puts out, a newsletter that she puts out, so that she can show young people who are asserting themselves in terms of activism in this environment that we are engaged in right now, which I am excited about. It's painful. It's a painful process. No one wants to see people die to get change. But how much more meaningful his death if we do have breakthroughs and change in terms of racial relations and the treatment of African Americans in America. And so my daughter is a part of that voice, and she is an activist at heart. And that's an opportunity. But in terms of getting in touch with us, um, Dr.Cozzette.com is my website. I have a radio show called Uncontrolled Substance. That's every fourth Sunday of the month on the Real Urban Radio Network, which is incredible. And Lena has joined the staff as our researcher, and she also will be taking care of the social media sides of it and some of the PR and marketing. So drcozzette.com is the primary way to be able to reach out. I'm on IG and FB. Lena's as well, but I think her accounts are private. Mine are public. So you'll be able to connect with us that way.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. You ladies are amazing. I pray that you will continue to, just walk out your confidence journey, and just
can I share one thing?
Yes.
I know you got time, the time limitation. I want to make sure that this was said while we were on
the gendered
raising.
Right. Because I was actually interviewed about that by a peer at school. And she asked me, because she was doing a whole project on how.
And we did not talk about this beforehand. So it's funny that she knew.
Yeah, I knew what she was going to talk about.
Hey, I like this. Fresh off the press.
I can start it off and then you can follow up. My parents always made it a point to raise me without gender constructs at the center of our relationship, and to recognize that I could be a mathematician, I could be a scientist, I could go outside and rough and tumble with my cousins who are all male, I could go ride my bike with my dad and learn how to change the tire and whatnot on my own. And they always encouraged me to explore my interests regardless of the fact that I was, a girl. And so that fact made it so that I never felt that I couldn't be a mathematician. I always felt that I could pursue what I wanted to get better at. And I wanted to get better at math. So I kept going. I was taught at the kitchen table how to graph on a coordinate plane by my dad when I was in first grade. They actively showed me that I could be good at typically gendered activities, and specifically at gendered professions. So they never closed those doors on me. But do you want to go into it more?
In the Bible, there's no gender. There's no male nor female, Jew, Gentile. At the table, we're all souls. There's spirit to spirit. And I wanted her to recognize that at the end of the day, when we get to the pearly gates, it's not going to be about her gender. It's going to be about what's in her soul. And how does she evolve and develop within her soul, and to connect soul to soul with people. And I think that, along with being, agender or whatever, I don't know the term that you would use, but not really focusing on baby dolls are for girls and guns are for boys. We didn't, she was running around here with a Nerf gun shooting up people just like the boy, and my son has a baby doll. So there you go, so to not put people in a box as far as that goes, that's one thing.
Yeah.
The other piece that I want to make sure that people know in terms of purposeful parenting was to make sure that your child not only has confidence instilled in them, well, I guess it's going to be three. There's going to be a second, then I have a third. Not only have confidence instilled in them because of, what they're doing and getting proficient at things, but that confidence source is God, because your confidence is supposed to be in Him. And that takes the burden off of you to have to be all things to all people.
Yes.
And so I wanted her to know that, so that she wouldn't feel the weight of the things that she would be presented with. That if she surrendered fully to Him and He brought her to that, He'll bring her out victoriously and on top for His glory. So that's the second thing. The last thing, and it's really important, is that it takes a village. And my husband and I didn't do this alone. We have our family, and we have the family outside of our family. Our church family has always been important, and we've made decisions in terms of movement of our children from one church to the other based on what we felt they needed in that season. So, being in tune to your child to know, because you only get a certain amount of time, and then they're gone, and it's all on them at that point. And so I wanted to deposit the best parts, my husband and I, the best parts of us while we have them, and do as much as we can so that they can fly.
Yes.
So
I love that. That's beautiful. And that's so key too, removing the gender roles.
yeah.
Like, oh, I can't do that. That's a man thing. I can't be an engineer. That's a man career. Oh, I can't be, a lawyer. That's a man's career. No, you can do all things through
Right.
Christ who strengthens you. And that's so beautiful. It's not coming from us, but the God in us.
That. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. You're
Mhm.
great. You guys are great. And I just believe that you both are definitely helping those who are tuning in, no matter the age, the age relationship, whether you are a daughter who is in their 20s or 30s, you still have chance, you still have an opportunity to get that relationship right. You still have the chance, you still have the opportunity to grow and to flourish in your confidence, in your Godfidence.
Yeah.
I just love that. I love your relationship, and I love what you've done, what it is that you're doing. And again, thank you so much for your time. And make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you tune in, or you can get more information from Dr. Cozzette on her Facebook page and on Instagram, drcozzette.com.
My website, yes, drcozzette.com. And then there's a uncontrolled substance FB page as well.
Awesome. Uncontrolled Substance Facebook page. Make sure you check out the website, friend her on Facebook. Those of you who are tuning in, I want to say thank you. Make sure you follow the Warrior Confidence page, like it as well. Next week, we are going to make a transition from confident moms and daughters, and we are going to be talking to millennials. And so I have the privilege of interviewing some millennials who are making moves in this world. And I'm super excited, can't wait to do it. And I just hope that you all tune in for that. So again, thank you, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And as always, don't forget your confidence. Have a good night.
Good night, sweetie.
Good night.
Bye.